Welcome to the Delenda Carthago podcast. We are your hosts, Andy and Aaron. This is the vacation edition of the podcast. So here we are in Keysville, New York.
Keysville, New York.
The
beautiful Keysville, New York.
Beautiful. In the Ausable River, Ausable, as the French Canadians say, River Valley. Staring out over some mountain, hill really.
Yeah, that one's a hill. But there are many mountains and hills surrounding us.
It's about, 5:30. The sun is going to start setting here. Or at least the sky will start getting a little redder.
And because we are so dedicated to you, our listener, we're taking time out of our vacation to do this podcast.
It's probably more that we couldn't move anymore after being tackled repeatedly by our children.
Yes, beaten.
Beaten senseless.
There was an episode of stoning.
There was some stoning. Someone's version of dodgeball.
Yes.
And I think I dislocated my shoulder throwing a football.
I can't move. Anything.
I didn't think I could move this morning. I'm definitely not moving tomorrow. Anyway. All right, so first up here, and we're a little late here. We're a few days after the fact, but the first item up for discussion is Obama's drone speech.
Yes.
And we'll apologize in advance. We're sitting outside, enjoying the nice weather, and an occasional car may go by, but you'll just have to deal with it.
Frankly. Well, I wanted to... I'll jump right in, but I'm going to have to cede control to Andy here in a second. First, I just wanted to point out the second paragraph of Obama's speech. He says, "For over 2 centuries, the United States has been bound together by founding documents that defined who we are as Americans and served as our compass through every type of change." Just wanted everyone to make sure they noticed. He says these founding documents defined who we are and that they served as our compass.
You mean past tense?
Yes, he has to say those words because if he said define and serve, that would mean those founding documents still apply to all of us. And he's long since shredded basically any rights that we were given in the Declaration and the Constitution. I'm assuming those are the random founding documents that he is.
Well, he left himself an out by being so vague. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's like 18 outs.
I meant the Communist Manifesto. Well, if we go back a second, his first line is, "It's an honor to return to the National Defense University here at Fort McNair." And he goes on, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
So, just looking up National Defense University, I got a little pop quiz for Aaron. I'm going to read 2 descriptions. So here's the first one. The university's mission is to impart higher education in policy and strategy formulation with emphasis on national security and defense and act as a national think tank. The school's master program is a 2-year-long intensive study program. That is University A.
Okay.
And University B, the university's mission is to prepare military and civilian leaders to better address national and international security challenges through multidisciplinary educational programs, research, professional exchanges, and outreach. The school's master program is a 1-year intensive study program. Now, these are 2 different universities, both called National Defense University. One of them is the one at McNair that Obama spoke at, and the other one is located in which country? I will give you a hint. It's not one of our allies. All right. Well, that's a really tough.
Oh, I already know who it is just by that. It's got to be Pakistan.
It is Pakistan.
I might have cheated.
Pakistan's National Defense University has basically the same mission as the U.S.'s National Defense University, which I just found hilarious.
I was hoping you would ask me, give me option A, option B. These were which one of these describes the one that's at Fort McNair? And I was going to say, oh, it's C. We want to train zombies to kill for us anywhere at any time.
No, they want to train them to write research papers making it okay to kill people anywhere.
And there's the difference.
All right, so back to Obama's speech. Obama speak.
Oh.
So he goes on after his founding documents to talk about how Americans are deeply ambivalent about war. And I have to ask, are they really?
No.
Because I don't think there's much in the middle. There's either the hardcore war hawks on both sides.
Yes.
Or the anti-war people. I don't know many people that are really wringing their hands. They're either...
The only ones that are wringing their hands are the ones who are virulently pro-war, yet have children who somehow happen to end up in the armed services. So 3 or 4 families.
Okay. So Americans is not a superset in this case.
I'm still concerned that he does not know what the word ambivalent means.
That's probably... Well, he didn't write this speech.
No, that's true.
So he probably doesn't...
His speechwriter just doesn't know it.
He probably doesn't know what half the words in here mean.
Or his speechwriter is like some just got out of college, had a job at a Quickie Mart, and now he's writing speeches, and he's like, oh, long word.
So he continues on... gives us a wonderful history of the 20th and 21st late 20th and 21st century.
Yeah.
And says, for a moment, it seemed the 21st century would be a tranquil time.
Which moment was that exactly?
Well, since it's only 2013, I assume he's talking about 9/11, which he is, because he goes on to... That's the next sentence is, then on September 11, 2001. But that assumes... that he's talking only about America and Americans, right? Because there was no violence, not even in America. I mean, it doesn't even make any sense then, right? There was no violence in America before then.
Well, there's plenty of that gun violence, I'm sure.
Well, he is from Chicago.
So there was violence in America.
There was some gun violence, yes. But then 2000, September 11, 2001, and we were shaken out of complacency. So we were living in a bubble, a bubble of freedom and nonviolence.
Well, I'm sure of that. After all, it is that freedom and nonviolence that they probably hate us for.
They do hate us for that, yes. Because then, instead, a group of terrorists came to kill as many civilians as they could.
If I was going to kill as many civilians as I could... would I choose to crash planes into buildings?
That's exactly what I thought. And also, this just seems to be the standard line, right? They came to kill...
Yeah, well, yeah, right. They came to kill... Well, I think it actually goes beyond that. It goes to, they came to kill our way of life. That's the one that I get.
Our way of life being...
Back to the whole freedom.
High rises and...
No, freedom.
Freedom. Oh, freedom.
Freedom.
Right.
So we have freedom here. Because of those founding documents that no one seems to care about anymore.
Well, so then his next paragraph is, and so our nation went to war, and I feel like there should be a yada 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 in the middle of those two sentences. Terrorists came to kill us, so and then we happened to be at war. There was nothing before that. There was nothing after that. Nothing in between. It's like 1984, right? We've always been at war.
East Asia. We've always been at war with East Asia. Yeah, well, I like that yada 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 too, because then if you asked him about it, you'd say, "Oh, well, I mentioned them terrorist killing," because that's really how it is. I mentioned bisque.
The bisque. Yes.
For them, the bisque is I get to keep saying over and over and over again, "Terrorists came to kill. Terrorists came to kill."
So he continues on. I would yada 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 the next couple sentences and say he talks about our standing in the world.
Oh, you know what? Before you go any further,
yes.
Pardon me for the interruption. The only part of the next few lines that shouldn't be yada 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 is where he says, "I won't review the full history." The reason you're not reviewing the full history is because none of the actual history presents the facts in any semblance of your version. It's disgusting.
Our standing and our interests. And I'll also pause here to say, I hate all of the speeches that have we, our, and the collective pronouns.
I feel like we should just go back to having monarchy, because he's still referring to essentially himself in the third person.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember having any standing or going to war or being targeted by terrorists. I don't believe I did anything to the terrorists.
Don't know what my interests in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Pakistan.
I don't have any interests.
Yemen
there.
And Somalia, and I don't really have a whole lot going on over there.
Pretty much anything east of the Prime Meridian at this point.
Yes.
So this is a wonderful fairy tale he's spinning here. We have 9/11, we have our interests, we have the war, and then because of all that, we had to make some changes in our defenses, and this is a quote: "Some caused inconvenience." So now, the suspension of civil liberties, the molestation of people at airports and train stations,
from children to 80-year-old women,
children
in
to
wheelchairs,
and with colostomy bags and everything in between. That was just an inconvenience because those terrorists, those 19 guys.
It's just like going into the supermarket and they don't have a self-checkout.
And you have to wait in line an extra 3 minutes.
It's the same thing.
It's the exact same thing. I mean, I'll give him that one.
I like the line before that. I didn't notice this before. The line before this says, most of these changes were sound.
By whose approximation?
Exactly.
I looked at it and I thought it was fine, so shut up.
We had 14 college students that are staffers for us cross-check this against, I don't know, the Oxford English Dictionary just to make sure the words make sense.
Sound? Yeah. And inconvenient. Unbelievable. It gets worse. I think we're on the fourth paragraph.
We have a lot to go here.
All right, so he goes on to tell us that we ended the war in Iraq, which was news to me. I didn't realize that.
Well, when we were looking at this, I saw something about Iraq, and I thought, isn't it strange that we're talking about how the war in Iraq is over, but terrorists are planning multiple bombing attacks on the same exact day?
And there are still U.S. soldiers being killed in Iraq.
Yeah, not soldiers.
Oh, I'm sorry, peacekeepers? Or
war fighters, I think is who we sent there.
War fighters, that's right. Love me some war fighters.
Well, we also, I'm sure, have some advisors.
Advisors, yeah, they have lots of names for these guys that carry rifles and hand grenades and everything else.
A couple contractors.
A lot of contractors.
Yeah. Disgusting.
So,
mercenaries is what it really comes down to.
Mercenaries, but we ended the war, supposedly.
Yeah.
And then we pursued, quote, a new strategy in Afghanistan.
I just saw your comment.
My comment is, that new strategy would be what? Total annihilation? There was nothing there before. There's even less left of the country now.
Yeah. It's amazing. There's this giant country with acres and acres and acres and acres and acres. We have a hard time finding people in it. Perhaps it's because the ones the Russians didn't kill were killing.
There are also no Christians left in Iraq, right?
Well, those guys
few that were there.
Those guys were not important.
No.
But I bet at the end of this speech he says, "God bless you and God bless America."
I think you cheated. Then the proverbial we also, quote, unequivocally banned torture, affirmed our commitment to civilian courts, and I can't read the rest. So I guess we banned torture for everyone except guys like Bradley Manning who would expose people murdering other...
Yeah, well, I mean, and then all the guys that were force-feeding through IVs in Guantanamo.
Oh, those guys. Yes, that's right. And
they're also not important.
Well, we also affirmed our commitment to civilian courts by keeping them detained without lawyers or trials for 10 years. So.
Exactly. Is it only 10?
It
seems so much longer.
Well,
now.
I guess we started in 2001, so 12 years now,
maybe,
right?
Yeah, but still, I mean, it seems like we've been doing this forever.
Well, we probably have. They just ramped it up when
nobody knew.
When the global war on terror really got heated up.
Why do you guys have that goofy military base down in Cuba anyway?
He even talks about We have a base on land that isn't even ours.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Oh, it's all right. Where are we at here?
Oh, you know what? I missed something. After the paragraph after that, he mentions today Osama bin Laden is dead. I don't know if that's like he's speaking in the past tense or if he's claiming it again, since the guy's probably really been dead for 7 years.
It's if you repeat something long enough, people start to believe it.
Yeah, and then you make movies about it.
Then you make movies
that
about it.
Supposedly use classified materials, and you leak that fact just so that you can make it seem even more realer, as they say.
The next sentence is also quite good. There have been no large-scale attacks on the United States. As if that is a result of having killed Osama bin Laden.
He's the mastermind, Andy, you forget.
What they need are a couple of logicians on the staff of the speechwriter, because that does not follow.
Well, that's not required of a politician.
Apparently not. So, you would think he's coming out of the nosedive here. We haven't done anything wrong. We've gone to war on terror. Blah blah blah. Killed Osama bin Laden. But go ahead.
But well, in fact, I'll read the last line of the paragraph we were just on. In sum, we are safer because of our efforts. And then immediately, now make no mistake, our nation is still threatened by terrorists. How is the entire nation threatened by terrorists? Obama goes on in this speech to talk about how thinned out they are and how our work has done such wonderful things and these sound doctrines that we've put into place to increase security. And, even though they're a little inconvenience, we're safe now. But we're not.
It's like a good New York style thin crust pizza. We spread it out. They're thin now.
Yeah. But no less delicious.
No less delicious. Not for tyranny, no.
There you go. It's disturbing.
From Benghazi to Boston, we have been tragically reminded of that truth. Now,
Wait, because Boston was just a pot-smoking, triple Florida murderer.
Which one?
That's either one.
I thought he was in the sleeper cell. And
wait, no, I don't think it was that.
Didn't he go back to the homeland and train?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot he did that too. And then he also attended that academy run by the CIA.
Oh, he did that as well,
yes,
and lived with a CIA agent.
Yeah,
in his house.
Yeah, at his house.
Yeah,
and his uncle was married to the daughter of the station chief of the Turkey-based.
Well,
region,
and if you're going to build a bomb, as we said before, you only use high-quality materials.
Not only that, but the first time you try it, it's going to work great.
That's a good point. We have not heard of any reports of testing of pressure cooker bombs. Let's not digress too far. We got a long way to go here.
My apologies.
So, I just want to know what Boston has to do with anything.
That's not what your notes say.
There are children here. What Benghazi and Boston have to do with each other. What Benghazi has to do with anything. It is going to rain on us, it looks like. Yes.
No. And finally, did we get a confession?
Did we get a confession?
Yes.
For anything. For any of this.
He wrote it in blood on the side of a boat that they couldn't find him in.
And then it rained.
And then when they found him in it, they filled it full of lead.
That's right.
Because he was armed and dangerous. Nope.
No, he wasn't. All right. We'll skip down here a few paragraphs. So on the next page, Aaron, is your next comment.
We do have a little more of the... speaking about the terrorists, their remaining operatives spend more time thinking about their own safety than plotting against us. Again.
So they're not a threat.
Right. How do they threaten the nation? And I hate this use of the entire nation over and over again, too. Like, okay, it's Keysville, New York is threatened by terrorists right at this moment.
I haven't seen any terrorists.
We should be quailing in fear.
Well, I'm not afraid because there's strict gun control in New York State, so
That's right. That's right.
I don't have to worry about being shot by a terrorist.
That guy
Do they have bomb control
arrested
here as well?
Oh, probably. That guy they just arrested for, selling a gun to another person,
That's right.
he probably was a terrorist.
He was definitely a terrorist.
That's probably been taken
He intended to terrorize people by selling.
Oh, okay. Moving along, we begin to talk about the nice people like the state more evil people that we target in other countries. He gives examples of Libya and Syria, but then he goes on and talks about, let's see, in some cases we confront state-sponsored networks like Hezbollah that engage... I always have to read it that way, because that's what it makes me think of. It's like a basketball team, isn't it?
It was spelled that way, actually. Is that the correct spelling?
No, I thought it was Hezbollah, with an E.
All right, it's raining, and now I
And
can't
now it's
see.
also
I
so
can't see
bright that
anything.
we can't see. It is beautiful here. It's amazingly beautiful.
Wow.
Raining with the sun so bright you can hardly see.
So Hezbollah.
Hezbollah, the basketball team, that engage in acts of terror to achieve political goals. Now, there's other cases beyond this that I don't think he mentions anywhere where we support rebels against government. In fact, he did reference Syria, but he never said anything about that guy who apparently caught one of the... I don't know if they're bad or good guys. I don't know how to describe them. One of the Syrian government operatives, and decided, hey, let's cut out some organs and just begin eating them.
We talked about this a little bit, I think, a couple weeks ago.
I believe so.
That it could be that there are no good guys
There
in some
aren't.
of these, right?
No,
and
there
most
aren't.
likely they're all right. The good guys are the people that are just trying to mind their own business and survive in these horrific situations.
Exactly. So we confront Hezbollah because they want political goals, but we support the Syrian opposition who want political goals. Could there be any sort of a link toward how we make that decision? Is it possible that we want, I don't know, maybe something like, hey, I think we can control these guys once we help them out? Guess what?
Did we do that in the 80s in Afghanistan?
Yeah. Oh, wait. No. You're saying we helped them against the Russians so that we could control them afterwards, and then it didn't pan out? So
Well,
well?
who was the them? Let's be specific. What was that guy's name?
I don't know. There was a bin in there.
Let's see, he was a mujahideen and
Yeah. Bin something.
Obama.
Obama?
bin.
No. Osama bin Laden.
That's right.
Is that it?
That is it.
Oh, but he's dead. Today, he's dead.
He's dead today. He might come back tomorrow. Well, no doubt he will come back.
When we need him.
When we need him, there will be another Osama bin Laden that we will use to fight against our quote-unquote enemies at the time. And then we did the same thing with Saddam Hussein.
Ho
We
Chi
did
Minh.
the same thing with Ho Chi Minh. We did the same thing with, what's the Libyan dude?
Muammar Gaddafi.
Muammar Gaddafi.
The Castros.
It's amazing that people have such short memories. It's not even like it was hidden. There's newspaper articles of all of the Bush era people surrounding these guys, right? Shaking hands and holding hands.
Cheney and
and Rumsfeld and everything else. And then it's just down the memory hole.
Yeah. We don't care once they're the bad guy.
So what I thought of when you commented on this one, it's sort of semi-related, but the recent attack on the British soldier in London by the crazy man who hacked him up with a hatchet or whatever, and it just seems that these quote-unquote intelligence agencies have a real great track record for picking guys as they tried to recruit this guy. MI5 did. Just 6 months ago to be a spy or an inside man,
a mole,
whatever.
Yeah.
So they're really good at figuring out which guys are stable and.
Well, if you think about that, you could even go so far as to say that there's some culpability there for MI5 because maybe their interview with him and their courting of him
drove him
over the edge and drove him into doing this.
It's like these people are really evil.
Well, it's like. All my buddies are terrorists too, I'm sure. So it's like, MI5 approached me. I'm sure they know about it. I've got to do something to prove I'm not part of this.
Oh, that's
or
true.
they're going to kill me.
That's true, yeah. Yep. So Obama continues, and this part confuses me. So he says, finally, we face a real threat from radicalized individuals here in the United States.
That's referring to Andrew.
Okay. So, what is the definition of radicalized? Because he gives a couple examples. The shooter at a Sikh temple in Wisconsin, a plane flying into a building in Texas, which, for those of you who don't know, he's referring to the guy who was in a fight with the IRS for like a decade and finally just gave up and said, I can't take this anymore, and flew his Cessna into the side of a federal building.
In an act of suicide.
In an act of suicide, exactly. Or the extremists who killed 168 people at the federal building in Oklahoma City, which may or may not have also been a CIA operation.
Well, I'm back to the culpability thing, particularly with the guy in Texas. What drove him to this action?
Yes,
harassment from the IRS.
What
perhaps?
amount of money could he have possibly owed? And I use that term loosely.
What amount of money could have been extorted from him at the point of a gun?
That would have made it worthwhile to drive. Yeah.
It's disgusting.
But what is the radicalized? What is the difference between these people? Why are they radicalized? Because they killed Americans.
We're setting the plate, right? We're going to say, okay, the Sarnev brothers are homegrown terrorists. And now we're backing that up by saying that, okay, here's 3 more examples of homegrown terrorists.
That are totally unrelated.
So what is the next problem that we're going to have to deal with?
But it seems to mean any act of violence committed against anyone for any reason
makes you a terrorist.
Makes you a radicalized terrorist.
Yes.
Right?
Clearly.
So we don't. He doesn't mention who the shooter is at the Sikh temple. Does it matter if I go into a Sikh temple and start shooting people?
I didn't see the genius of this before.
You have to explain it to me.
Well, now that I think about it, he mentions, okay, the very paragraph before that we already talked about. We confront state-sponsored networks like Hezbollah that engage in acts of terror to achieve political goals.
Okay.
So he's setting up his statement about this plane. The guy that committed suicide by flying his plane into a building.
Yep.
That guy was obviously anti-government because he didn't want to pay his taxes.
Oh, okay.
So he was trying to achieve a political goal by flying that plane into it.
And so
that justifies his act as an act of terrorism.
Well, and so he lumps in the Oklahoma City bombing.
Also another action against the government.
But it leaves out the fact that was retribution.
Yes.
For another act of the federal government, the FBI, for killing Randy Weaver's family at Ruby Ridge.
Exactly.
So there's no memory for the starting point of anything and who actually initiated the first act of violence.
Right. Well, I don't know. Maybe there is in this case. Maybe that is exactly what they're trying to do.
Well, he's trying
now
to
it's going to be about domestic terror.
Well, but he's trying to make the starting point these radicalized people. They just became radicalized all of a sudden, and they started committing violence. They have no reason at all to...
yes, very true. Yeah. It doesn't matter what amount of provocation from the government. It's still the government, so they're still right.
Exactly. So... I hope we're almost through this. I don't know much more.
I hope we're wrong about what we were just talking about. Gosh. All right. Cruising right along.
So this paragraph is very interesting. I might have to read the whole thing just to get the context. Moreover, we must recognize that these threats don't arise in a vacuum.
Except when they do.
Except previously when people just become radicalized for no reason at all. Don't look behind the curtain. Most, though not all, of the terrorism we face is fueled by a common ideology, a belief by some extremists that Islam is in conflict with the United States and the West, and that violence against Western targets, including civilians, is justified in pursuit of a larger cause. Of course, this ideology is based on a lie. The United States is not at war with Islam, and this ideology is rejected by the vast majority of Muslims who are the most frequent victims of terrorist acts.
They need a logician and a statistician. Because aren't we just talking about terrorist attacks on the U.S.? Or have we changed this somehow? And now we're talking about terrorism worldwide.
We're talking about it worldwide when it suits us.
Right, which just goes back to the whole idea that we will be the world's policeman. We will be the Teddy Roosevelt ideal.
That's right.
Still, back to your question about the ideology that's based on a lie.
Yeah, so if it's based on a lie, he doesn't examine that any further or give us a reason. So if it's based on a lie, I would ask them, what is the real motivation? Or why, maybe a better question.
Why is that lie so believable?
Why is that lie believable, and why would they choose that lie? And so many questions that come out of that make no sense at all, especially for suicide bombers. And right?
Yeah. If it's a simple lie that we can just denounce immediately like that, why are so many people?
I could just show you, like you said, the statistics. Look, obviously the U.S. is not at war against Islam, and that should just snap you right out of it, right?
There you go.
It's as simple as that.
No one can deny facts,
No.
except when they're presented by the government, obviously.
I don't think I can see the computer screen anymore.
Moving along, in the very next paragraph, he gives this great line, which it's actually rhetorically is very sound because it makes all your points without actually having to have any fact. We need all elements of national power to win a battle of wills and ideas.
That phrase, national power, really is something, isn't it? National power.
There is
it sounds like something
no such thing
out of 1930s Germany, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes. And it goes beyond that, because then it talks about wills and ideas. We're still talking in national terms. What is the national will? What is the
collective
national
will.
Idea?
There's 300-some million people live in America. We all have to have one idea, one will,
yes.
One goal.
I'm stubbornly going to defend the national will. I have no frickin' clue what it is, but I'm going to... I don't get that. And again, it comes right back to it's purely the power of the state. Again, it's enforced by a gun. And it's foisted upon all of us. We're not like this. We get wrapped up in it sometimes.
The nationalism, yeah.
The nationalism. But if you ask these nice people here in Keysville, New York, hey, do you think we should just go all over the world and kill bad guys? Even if, it doesn't affect you at all? Of course they're not going to want to do that. Oh, by the way, not only are we going to do that, we're going to send your sons and now your daughters to do that. And they might get killed.
Well, and we're going to extract money to do it at the point of a gun.
Yeah. Yes. You'll pay for it, both with lives and with money.
Yep.
Well, with dollars.
With dollars.
Anyway, in addition to that, I just wanted to mention that this sounds an awful lot like my 3-year-old, who says, "I need whining, crying, stomping, pouting, and all elements of toddler power to win the battle of wills and ideas about bedtime." It sounds exactly the same. I'm going to invent whatever strategy it is, whether it's appealing to your patriotism, whether it's appealing to some sense of unification of our nation. Our nation is not... United States aside.
Aside from the words?
Title, those words. We don't have a united nation. Look at our elections, the phony things that they already are. You have half the people not voting, 3/4 of the people not voting, because they don't really care. Because the parties are the same.
They're united, yes. They're more united than the people that vote, actually, if you think about that.
That's true.
We're united against voting.
It's disturbing. And the worst part is it's going to continue. In fact, he says, beyond Afghanistan, we must define our effort not as a boundless global war on terror, but rather as a series of persistent, targeted efforts. This sounds so horrible. To dismantle specific networks of violent extremists that threaten America. How much worse would that sentence sound if he was telling the truth? Beyond Afghanistan, we're going to find individuals, we're going to kill them and all the civilians around them so that they don't talk bad about America to other people and incite them to violence, even though we're not sure that they would actually incite them to violence. So essentially, we're going to find people and we're going to kill them if we think they're bad.
It's the Department of Pre-Crime.
It is. In many cases, this will involve partnerships with other countries, like Pakistan.
Now, last time I checked, partnering with someone else is called conspiracy to commit murder, right?
Right. Well, apparently we can also have. Maybe we can have national crime. Maybe the rest of the world is someday going to start up and say, you know, we're going to nuke all of America because we're sick and tired of this. They've committed national crime. How would we like that?
National crimes.
Well, if you can have national pride, national
wills, national ideals and goals.
Why can't you have national crimes?
Collectivism cuts both ways, I guess.
It should. Unfortunately, it doesn't.
It should, yes.
The other thing that kills me about this is, how have we had a partnership with Pakistan?
Well,
we have undermined their sovereignty.
They named their national defense university after ours.
But we have taken away any... We've told the people of Pakistan, your government does not rule you, nor does it interact with other nations.
You'll do as we say.
You'll do as we say. It goes on and gets worse, but I don't need to read the whole thing. Anyone that listens to this podcast knows. I will say, at the end it says, in Mali, we are providing military aid to a French-led intervention to push back Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb and help the people of Mali reclaim their future. Let's rephrase that again. In Mali, the French colonists are reinvading to further their own interests in making money from this country. And we're going to put down the civil war or insurrection, however you want to call it, that's currently happening there.
Amazing. I really don't think, though, that most people know that anything is happening outside of Afghanistan and Iraq.
Well, I don't think they do either.
They don't have any clue that we've been at war with Pakistan for years.
No idea that we just randomly kill whoever we want in Yemen, in Somalia.
Nope. I think we should skip down here because it's starting to repeat itself. But there was a.
I do want to say one thing here before we go too far.
Go ahead.
He says he has one line, and it's in some of these places, such as parts of Somalia and Yemen, the state has only the most tenuous reach into the territory.
Yay!
Exactly! If only we could have a place like this in America. I would love to live in the place where the state has only the most tenuous reach. Why do we have to take freedom away from everyone everywhere?
He's very upset about it, too.
It's disgusting.
Embrace and extend?
Embrace and extend. Well, we could, send a team of special forces to capture every terrorist. Oh, wait, we can't do that. So
that's not practical.
Let's just, I don't know, blow it up. It's disgusting.
I'm going to skip down here because he starts to address people's objections to, and this is all leading up to his defense of the drone war. Maybe war is the wrong term. The use of drones to murder people.
Assassination. Whether political or...
And he starts off by saying, to begin with, our actions are effective. Oh, okay, well, as long as they're effective, I guess we're good.
If the result is what we desire, that means that we did the right thing. I don't think we would want our children to learn that.
But then later he says, to say a military tactic, that's what that is, apparently. A tactic. To say a military tactic is legal or even effective is not to say it is wise or moral in every instance. This might be the truest statement in the whole speech. Legal does not equal moral. But we're going to do it anyway because it's effective.
The very next line after that, even, he says, for the same human progress that gives us the technology to strike half a world away, also demands the discipline to constrain that power or risk abusing it. How, I want to know. Please tell me, Andy. How is murdering people half a world away anyhow linked to human progress?
Human progress. I guess the technology. I guess when you funnel billions and trillions of dollars to Lockheed Martin and GE, you could call that human progress.
Well,
we get microwaves and drones.
It's disturbing.
I'm going to skip the next couple.
Well, it just goes. We get right back into the whole.
We get back into
undermining the quote unquote states that we're partnering with.
We're not undermining them, and we're very good at doing this. And we always check to make sure we will kill the least number of civilians, which I love that word too, as if any of these other people are not civilians.
It's almost like they're using that word to create some sort of a status. It's like, we didn't achieve our military aims, but we did get a couple civilians. I almost feel like that's the follow-up. It's pretty soon civilian isn't going to be civilian anymore. Civilian's going to be probable radicalized in the future people.
Well, that's actually what the drone memo almost says, right? An imminent threat, meaning you're 12 years old and you're being raised by someone who is teaching you things we don't like, so we have to kill you now.
Before you get to be 16. And you might actually be able to think.
He says, let us remember that the terrorists we are after target civilians, and the death toll from their acts of terrorism against Muslims dwarfs any estimate of civilian casualties from drone strikes. Let me translate this. We kill less people than they do, so it's okay. I'm not even sure that's true. I don't think it is. But even if it were, he's basically saying, he's back to his statistics. Well, it's just a numbers game. As long as we kill less than they do, we're on the right side.
And he's counting all these attacks in Iraq and various other places. If we hadn't gone there, would they have ever been attacked? No. How do we get the benefit of being the instigators and the victims?
Yes. National victimization.
There you go.
Are we done yet?
Oh, I like how he gets to a certain point and he's like, okay, now that I'm justifying my use of drones, let me blame shift a little.
Yes.
In fact, let me repeat that. Not only did Congress authorize the use of force, it is briefed on every strike that America takes. That includes the one instance when we targeted an American citizen, Anwar al-Awlaki, the chief of external operations for AQAP, which is Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. How did this guy get a title of chief of external operations?
Is that an actual job that
you can
apply for? I mean, what do you put on your resume for that?
CEO. All they're saying was who was the head, and they're just changing the words up a little.
He was the CEO.
But what kills me is the only reason he's bringing Congress into it is because he's like, who out there in the government has more horrible popular opinion than I do? Oh, Congress. Let's blame it on them. Nobody likes Congress anyway.
So he continues and talks about how Anwar al-Awlaki was continuously trying to kill people. Again, you can just say whatever you want when you're the president, making a speech.
How do you continuously try to kill people and never succeed?
He was making this speech to a bunch of military people, right? So no one's going to question any of this.
It's like giving a speech on...
He was talking to the warfighters.
Yeah, well, right. It's like giving a speech on Red Bull or, I don't know, 5-Hour Energy to a group of NFL players.
Yes. This part is really... should be most disturbing. He says... talking about how they're going to be very safe about this and disciplined and all that other crap. They've established a special court to evaluate and authorize lethal action, and has the benefit of bringing a third branch of government into the process. Because the first two weren't complicit enough, we needed a third to make it legitimate.
Well, that's the problem. You know, when the president makes the call, then people can still question it. Now Congress, we can't question it quite as much, but we'll question it a little more.
Oh no, we have all three. A special court.
Well, then we don't have any choice. Also, it won't be like the wiretapping court that.
That's right. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, they won't listen into Americans' conversations. They won't also kill American. Wait, did that already, didn't they?
Already did it.
Huh.
Well, I don't have I mean, we have other comments here, but it continues.
I'm scrolling down to see if there's something else we need to say.
I think your comment at the very end is probably the. I will say he does talk about the fact that Gitmo is still open and blames it on John McCain.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a military base, right? And according to your warped theory of how things are supposed to work, the president's the commander-in-chief. He should be able to just tell all those people to get on a plane and come home, right?
You would think it'd be that easy.
Turn the power off and vacate the premises.
Well, and the thing is, even if you don't just do it as commander-in-chief, why don't you do one of those signing statements or
national signing letter, executive order, whatever, something, right? It's just totally ludicrous. He's basically saying, it's not my fault. I couldn't close this base.
You said I made a comment at the end, and I'm trying to find it.
Oh, the very end.
Oh, my.
The very last line.
Is there an end?
Oh, well, no, the last paragraph. You have one.
Last paragraph. Second to last paragraph. You're forgetting about thank you, God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Yeah, second to last paragraph.
All right, well, okay. Obama did, he was talking, I should read more of it. He was talking about America and how...
I love America.
How much we all love America because we're all patriots. And wait, no, we're not patriots, but we are patriotic. That's what it is. Because we're not as brave as those war fighters. He says victory will be measured in parents taking their kids to school. That doesn't happen now. Immigrants coming to our shores. Don't we already have a problem with that? Don't we already hate those immigrants?
I thought we were letting too many in. Isn't that the...
Fans taking in the ball game. Baseball has been canceled.
He didn't say baseball.
Well, it's a ball game.
No, wait. He's talking about basketball. Once we can get people to start watching basketball.
A veteran starting a business. I'm sure that hasn't happened. A bustling city street. Those... It depends on what your definition of the word bustling is.
Last time I was in New York City, the streets were totally empty, so...
That's true. Anyway, he goes on, the quiet determination, that strength of character and bond of fellowship, that refutation of fear, that is both our sword and our shield. The only thing I could think of were the lyrics from a Pink Floyd song where they say, hanging on in quiet desperation is the English way. And I think Obama really means... I don't know what victory means unless it just means we'll trudge along in denial and ignorance of what's going on in the world around us. As
long as we can go watch a ball game and take our kids to school.
Spend money, yell at immigrants, whatever we got to do. As long as we cannot focus on the evil things we're doing abroad, then everyone will be okay. And yes, it's true, the government wins.
Thank you, God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Oh, States of America. The end.
The end.
All right, so...
Andy loves Memorial Day.
It's one of my favorite government holidays.
He insisted that we vacation this week because of Memorial Day.
Just so we could celebrate it properly. I saw this article. It's from some CBS local Boston website or something.
Oh, gee whiz, Boston.
It says Memorial Day parade canceled due to lack of veterans. And they just can't find enough veterans to march in the parade, so they canceled it. But they wanted to assure everyone they would still have a memorial service in the town that the two guys that did show up could come to. But more interesting...
They might have one next year, I read in the article.
More interesting than that were some of the comments. My favorite one, I I don't know who this was directed at, but in the comments below the article it says, "Support our troops or get the F out."
Friendly.
Very,
Friendly.
I don't know who that's directed at, though. Like,
Me.
I guess the people that canceled the parade, that wouldn't have been a parade. It would have been two guys walking down the street.
Could be. Oh, it might be the veterans that didn't show up because they're too busy and don't really give a crap.
Maybe they're busy starting those businesses Obama
No,
talked about.
that's impossible. They don't do that yet because we don't have victory yet.
But as always, with every government worship holiday, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, Labor Day, Day,
Tuesday,
there's always, everyone feels a compulsion to post things on Face page and Twitter, whatever it's called.
Friend face.
You had another one the other day. It was good. Bookface.
It might have been book face. Yeah.
Face page. That's the same one. Yeah. Anyway, this one was excellent. It says, "Oh, you're in the military? That's cool. I wanted to do that when I was a kid. What do you make?" Parentheses. I always loved this question. What do I make? Here it comes. If you weren't nauseated enough before. I make holding your child's hand possible every day. I make 5 minutes seem like a lifetime. I make going to war for your freedom a duty that I will die for. I can make sure your children have a future before terrorists attack us. I can help you by spending a year away from my family while you complain about yours and your job. I make myself get out of bed at 3 a.m., 0 dark 30, to risk my life to save your freedom. Today I might make the ultimate sacrifice to save your life. I make a difference. Now what do you make? Repost if you are active duty, retired, or a vet. And with a little Americastrong.com logo in the bottom.
I vomited in my mouth just a little bit.
I'm not sure which terrorists are attacking me or who is trying to kill me today that this person is saving me from. Or why he needs to get up at 3 a.m. for me.
Don't the terrorists have normal working hours like us?
No. Apparently they're like machines. They don't ever sleep.
Of course not.
It's just unbelievable, the naivety and people just swallow this up. And
I just wanted to call the Army or Marines or whoever this guy's employed by and say, hey, could you change your hours? Because, you don't have to start at 3 a.m. This is ridiculous.
He makes a difference. He's a difference maker.
He's a hero and deserves.
He is. He's a warfighter.
He's a warfighter. This is Aaron. I just wanted to let you know that the other host of the show, in typical jerk behavior, has assigned me the arduous task of creating a short history of the New Age movement.
I don't even know how that came about.
I don't know either, but you did it.
It might make sense later.
As I could not care less about this topic, this history leans extremely heavily on Wikipedia, so go there and read these same words. The New Age aims to create a spirituality without borders or confining dogmas that is inclusive and pluralistic. It holds to a holistic worldview, emphasizing that the mind, the body, and the spirit are interrelated, and that there's a form of monism and unity throughout the universe. Also in the United States, there's unity. Don't forget that. It attempts to create a worldview that includes both science and spirituality. You'll hear more about that later. And embraces a number of forms of mainstream and embraces a number of forms of mainstream science, as well as other forms of science that are considered fringe. Walter Russell apparently said, "This New Age philosophy of the spiritual reawakening of man's purpose in this new age is to acquire more and more knowledge." Now, from what I read and from what I just talked about, this acquiring of more and more knowledge also apparently involves such disparate and scientifically quantifiable practices as the use of magnets and crystals for healing. Also involves writing books from a dialogue with deeper parts of yourself. Not sure what those parts may be. Among the completely factual items that New Agers believe in are psychic revelations, astral projection, and the harmonic convergence of the planets. I'm not really sure what any of those things achieve as well. All of these things, I'm sure, have expanded the knowledge of man by leaps and bounds. In fact, probably New Age people now could look back on the past, and they're just waiting for guys like Walter Russell to have said something like, "This is a small step for man, but a giant step for mankind."
Very nice. I know as much now about New Age as I did before.
There's nothing.
Oh, I should say, I understand just about as much.
Are we still recording?
Yeah.
This? It's disturbing. You could read for hours about it, and none of it has any meaning.
Well, what I thought about your first... The New Age aims to create a spirituality without borders or confining dogmas that is inclusive and pluralistic. Sounds a lot like most of the Christian churches.
Well, not only that, it also sounds like most of the platform of both of the parties.
Both political parties,
They'll
yes.
both claim to be pluralistic and inclusive as much as possible.
But they do have confining dogmas.
Well, you know. Oh, wait. No, the Republicans definitely have borders, too.
Well, that's true. We need a fence near that border. Well, so this spawned... I know why we're talking about New Age, because I guess, was it last time? With
How did it
your
get
list
there?
your list of books.
Oh,
So
yes.
your USA Today list of books, and one
Where
of them...
I was guessing the book covers.
You're
by
guessing the
title.
book covers, what they look like by title, but one of them, I believe, was a New Age book.
I think so.
So, I have a little quiz, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you the book title, and we're gonna actually include our wives in this, much to their chagrin.
That's the only word for it.
But I'm gonna give you a book title, and you're gonna tell me whether it's a New Age book, a prosperity gospel book from a quote unquote Christian perspective, or a motivational speaker book. And I'm going to guess you're not going to do very well.
This is going to be horrible.
All right, I have a quiz.
Okay.
So, we're welcoming to the podcast Janet. And what's your name? The angry one.
SWB.
All right. I'm going to give you a book title. You're going to tell me whether it's New Age, prosperity gospel, or self-help / motivational. All right.
Aren't they all the same? All the same thing. It'd be impossible.
You're giving it away. All right. Anybody can chime in. All right. First one. A New Earth, awakening to your life's purpose.
A. New Age.
A. That wasn't a choice.
Yes, it was.
That's the Christian.
No, New Age. New
No.
Age was A.
I thought
Wait,
that was a
say it
Christian
again. Wait a
thing.
minute.
Wait, what are
You
the
said a
categories
New
again?
Earth?
A New Earth, awakening to your life's purpose.
I'm going to say New Age.
Wait,
Oh,
hold on.
New Age?
What
What are the categories again?
Self-help.
New Age, prosperity gospel,
Prosperity gospel. That's what it
or
is.
self-help.
Self-help. I'm going for
We got
New
a New
Age.
Age, we got one of each. The correct answer is New Age.
Woo!
It is Eckhart Tolle, Oprah's spiritual advisor.
Oh,
He
gosh.
wrote that
I
book.
really knew that name.
All right.
Because I watch a lot of Oprah.
Starting to wonder.
She doesn't school her children.
No. Bonbons and Oprah. It is for me all day long.
Peg. Was it Peg? Al Bundy's wife, right?
I thought that's who
Peg.
you were comparing me to just then.
She used to eat bonbons. That's what he accused her of, right? Sitting on the
no.
couch eating bonbons, watching Oprah all day.
This is really awesome. Good vanilla bean.
Uh-huh, it is.
Part of the quiz.
What is a good vanilla bean?
Turkey Hill.
You could edit.
One that you left out of the vodka before you drank it.
Next title. Becoming a better you. 7 keys to
Prosperity.
improving your life every day.
Prosperity.
Yes. That's a Joel Osteen. I'll even
Yeah,
tell
I
you the
feel like
author.
he wrote it.
You're correct. But I put the easy ones at the beginning. They get harder. Alright. Next we have The power to shape your destiny. 7 strategies for massive results.
Read that one again.
What was the
That's a
after the
weight
colon?
loss book.
What was it?
I didn't have that as a category, but that would have been good.
After the
please
colon,
read
it
the
was
title.
what?
The power to shape your destiny. 7 strategies for massive results.
I feel like I'm missing one.
Self-help.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah, I think that's
It
right.
is self-help. Can you tell me the author?
I don't read a lot of self-help books, so I don't really know who the authors would be.
Who's that guy?
But the last one you read, who was that?
Who's that guy that...
Jesus!
Jesus is incorrect.
Who's that Maxwell guy?
Maxwell.
Oh, it's not Maxwell. It's Tony Robbins.
I don't know who that
All right,
is.
here you go.
That is.
Here you go. Making good habits, breaking bad habits, 14 new behaviors that will energize your life.
I don't
That's
know.
self-help.
I don't know if
Yep.
it's that or prosperity gospel.
It's self-help.
Told you that got harder.
No, that's not.
I'll say
It's definitely
self-help. That was my
Self-help.
original instinct, but I
Self-help.
Mm-hmm.
Self-help.
Oh, yeah.
All around.
All around, you're all wrong. It's Prosperity Gospel by Joyce Meyer.
Oh, my
it
goodness.
sounded familiar, which is why I should have gone with prosperity because I probably saw it at Family Christian stores, which is why I recognize.
Or it's the last self-help book you read.
Yeah, that's what it was. I do love me a good Joyce Meyer book.
Oh. Are they actual... Never mind.
Next.
Go ahead.
It's one of the 24.
I believe it. I believe it. That's the kind of tracks your church hangs.
The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, a practical guide to the fulfillment of your dreams.
Self-help.
We've got a self-help.
Yeah.
We've got another one.
It was prosperity and what is the other category?
New Age,
and-
prosperity, and motivational. Or self-help. I lumped those together.
Prosperity.
What did you have?
I said
Self-help.
Self-help.
Self-help. Prosperity. You're all wrong. That's Deepak Chopra's New Age book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success.
Oh, yeah, that sounds familiar. I didn't care about that coming out either.
The third alternative, solving life's most difficult problems.
the third alternative.
Oh, I remember the quizzo I was going to do. Whether this is a Christian romance novel or
Oh, yes.
something else. What was
Well,
it?
that would be a fun one.
Or a regular.
Oh, no, no. Is this a Christian fiction? Is this Christian fiction or is this a romance novel?
Yes.
That's what it was.
Aren't
have to
those
work
the
on
same
that.
things?
What game are we playing right now?
So anyway,
The
The
third
third
alternative,
alternative.
solving life's most difficult problems.
Self-help.
it should be self-help
It,
based on that title.
it's self-help.
I'm going to go with self-help.
It's probably not self-help.
New Age.
Well, now I
I'm
feel
changing my answer.
I feel obligated now to guess what I don't think it sounds like. But to be fair, I'm just going to go based strictly on what it sounds like.
I think it's prosperity gospel.
Whose water am I drinking? This is yours.
It is self-help / motivational by Stephen
If
Covey.
you look around a little more, you'll find nothing still.
You have all the napkins.
All right. Reposition yourself. Living life
I just
without
did.
limits.
That's a sex ed book.
Jesus.
Living life what?
Reposition yourself.
Reposition yourself.
Living life without limits.
Again, pretty sure that's a sex ed. Are you throwing in
self-help.
books that aren't even in
Spiritual.
the category
I
that
mean,
you're talking
not
about?
spiritual.
Whoa!
That's a spiritual?
That's not what I mean. I mean, what's that option?
Prosperity.
That's the one.
We got prosperity.
Self-help.
What was the title again?
Reposition yourself.
I'm just trying
Jack,
to see
can
how
I
many
have
times
the
you'll
one?
say it. It's
Living-
ridiculous.
living-
Why would you even read that title?
Living life without limits.
That's new age.
What did you say, Jackie?
Self-help.
It is Prosperity by T.D. Jakes.
Well, that makes sense.
T.D. Jakes.
And the next one is
Another family Christian stores.
Living a
That's
Life of Inner Peace.
New Age.
That's definitely New Age.
Or prosperity.
That might even be.
Or self-help.
That might be your Deepak Chopra guy.
That could go anywhere.
Well,
But
then you would... Oh, that's what we said.
New Age.
She's like Dory.
Jackie speaks well.
Huh.
That's
Yeah, I've been known.
That is another Eckhart Tolle book.
Oh, I was close though.
So are these all books that you have on your bookshelf at home?
Well, that's all I did was turn around in the office and look. This one's a gimme. Every day of Friday, How to Be Happier 7 days a week.
How is that a gimme?
self-help.
Yeah.
Motivational.
Self-help.
I want to say something, but I can't say it.
How come you haven't had the Have a Better Husband by Friday one? That one's on our shelf.
You did buy that one.
I did on my Kindle.
Popped up in the Kindle. I'm like, whoa.
It was free, and I thought, I have to know what this book says.
Give
Not
him
'cause-
vegetables. That's what the answer was.
Every
I
day
don't
of
even
Friday,
know.
How to Be Happier 7 days a week.
Motivational. Self-help.
Agreed.
I don't know. Prosperity.
It is. It's by Joel Osteen. All right, I only have a few more.
Oh, really?
Power Thoughts, 12 Strategies to Win the Battle of the Mind.
That's self-help.
New Age or self-help?
Can you please repeat the question?
Power Thoughts, 12 Strategies to Win the Battle of the Mind. Oh, I should have thrown in Scientology books.
Oh, yes.
Great.
Yeah, but they're all by L. Ron Hubbard, aren't they? So it's like Battlefield
Prosperity.
Earth. Then
That is Prosperity. It's by Joyce Meyer.
What was the title again?
Power Thoughts, 12 Strategies to Win the Battle of the Mind. The next one is Super Brain, Unleashing the Explosive Power of
Wait
the
a second.
Mind.
Wait a second. Go back to that last title one more time.
Power Thoughts, 12 Strategies to Win the Battle of the Mind.
And we wonder why Christians are so obsessed with the military.
The next one is Super Brain, Unleashing the Explosive Power of Your Mind to Maximize Health, Happiness, and Spiritual Well-Being.
Is that what that
New
Megamind
Age.
movie was about?
It's exactly what it's about.
Which movie?
Megamind?
New Age.
I think so.
It is New Age. It's Deepak Chopra again. And we have Reinventing the Body, Resurrecting the Soul, How to Create a New You.
Prosperity.
Seems too easily prosperity.
Recreating the...
Self-help.
Reinventing the Body, Resurrecting the Soul, How to Create a New You.
I'm torn between the prosperity and the self-help. I will say prosperity.
It's New Age. It's Deepak Chopra again. All right, two more. This one's called First Things First.
First things first.
That's the Catholic Quarterly. No.
Motivational.
New Age.
It's definitely prosperity.
You all win. No, it's Motivational by Stephen Covey. And the last one, The Fringe Benefits of Failure and the Importance of Imagination.
Once again, please.
The Fringe Benefits of Failure and the Importance of Imagination.
That's New Age.
I think it might be.
New Age.
New Age, all
Yeah.
around? It's not actually New Age. It's actually the commencement speech for Harvard in 2008 given by J.K. Rowling.
Nice.
You had to have it, didn't you? You had to have it. You had to have all of us say New Age.
I win.
I'm sorry, I meant to say welfare or thief or...
What did I call her?
What did you call her?
Welfare whore?
No.
No.
Freeloader?
Freeloader?
No,
It
no.
was worse than that, though. What was the thing you called him when you first met him?
Wait,
That's what
just
you
go-
called
Deadbeat.
Deadbeat.
Wait. Go to LouRockwell.com and find out what you were supposed to call her.
I don't think I've ever read an article about her, have you?
I don't think so.
I just want to know why your shirt says whiskey with an EY on it.
I didn't buy the shirt.
Fail.
Fail.
You're wearing it.
You could have at least...
Your
like-
t-shirt
get
also
that.
says highest quality. As listeners of our podcast may know, not so much.
On that note, good night. Thanks for listening. You can find us at our website, curmudgeons.net, and on Facebook and Twitter, both at /curmudgeonsnet, no period. Drop us a note with suggestions, links, or show ideas, and remember to share the podcast with your friends. We'll be back in 2 weeks. When the planets harmonically converge and Jupiter aligns with Mars, it will not be the age of Aquarius, but we will continue our efforts anyway. Until then, spit on your hands and hoist the black flag.